Welcome back to the Rugby Oaks. My name's Matt, and I'm here with George.
How's it going, Matt? 2025, baby. Let's go.
2025. 24 is in the books. One of the greatest years in Springbok rugby. The wins on the board, the number one status, the rugby championship for the first time since 2019 and the first time for a full version. But, George, 2024 is in the history books. It's done. It's dusted. We're no longer focusing on it. We've only got eyes for 2025 and onwards, heading into the 27 World Cup. George, you feeling okay after New Year's Eve last night?
Do you know what? I'm feeling fresh, but that's probably because I've got a couple of livers stored in this body. But no, feeling good, feeling pumped, excited for the year. Excited for the Bokke to get back in action because it's been so long.
It has been so long, George, and we've still got so long to wait. I know we've got URC. I know we've got Champions Cup. I know we've got Currie Cup at some point in the year, but the Bokke, I'm list for the Bokke. And we've got a little bit of a wish list, guys, for 2025 that we wanted to go through. A couple of things that George had talked about that we'd like to see from the Springboks and from South African rugby in general. We're going to go through that now, but stick around because at the end of the episode, we're going to run through our perfect Springbok selection. So my selection versus George's selection from 1 to 23. We're going to have a good debate about it. You let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know also your wishes. If we don't talk about it, we can bring it up in the next episode. And of course, guys, if you've not subscribed, if you've not liked, if you've not commented before, get on in there. Join the Rugby Oaks community. 2025 is going to be a huge one. But George, we will start it off with a little bit of a wish list that's very close to my heart. It's very close to Russie's heart. And that is thinking about the bigger picture, thinking about 2027 and beyond. 24, we blooded 12 new youngsters, 12 debutants. I don't think there was a bad debutant through the year. Some performances better than others. But looking into 2025, I don't think Russie will change that tactic, especially when you look at the fixtures. Of course, you've got the British and Irish Lions touring Australia, which leaves little old Italy touring South Africa. So we've got Italy and I think we've got Georgia. So we've got 3 matches there, which are, look, they're guaranteed Ws, but give us space to not only prepare for the Rugby Championship, but also blood a couple of youngsters, see what people are about. And you've made a little list of people that we think should be given a chance in the Boks jersey. Let's go, George.
Let's go. So I'm going to kick things off here with a Stormers, and again, it's not because we're Stormers boykies, but a Stormers player, Netling Forshire. Netling Forshire, tight head prop. He has been so good. I think he deserves a shot. But let me run through the list, and then we can banter about them all, I suppose. Another tight head prop, big guy. Now I might pronounce his name incorrectly, so please excuse me. It's Asenati Ntlabakani from the Lions.
Big guy.
He only just needs to learn to not go into a ruck from the side.
Yeah, but other than that, he's got to be careful with that weight behind him. But hell of a player, and young.
Hell of a player. Yeah, he's young. And then we're sticking with forwards, and then we'll get to backline players. Then another Stormers boykie, JD Schikkeling. He hasn't had a Boks cap yet, but he was around, and then he was big in Japan, and he's big for the Stormers. He's kept Ruben van Heerden out of the starting position now, but that's the next man on my list is Ruben van Heerden as well. I just think both of these Stormers locks deserve at least a look in, because they're both. I think they'll buy into the Russie game plan for sure. And we've got 100%. Some more. We've got some brothers here. The Chichuka brothers, Manu and Vincent from the Sharks, loose forwards. They can play anywhere in the back row. I think they absolutely deserve a shot. The Sharks do tend to have brothers. You remember the Dupree brothers, and now they got the Chichuka brothers. It's a thing.
The Hendrickses.
They got true. Gosh, can't forget them. Now moving abroad, big lad, playing some great rugby. Jano Augustus.
Troki.
I think he absolutely deserves a go. He He's a big boykie, and he's been playing flipping well for Northampton Saints. Is he moving to Ulster?
I think he is. And that number 8 position in the box, we're so close to locking down, but we haven't locked down quite yet. But we'll continue to talk about that. Keep going, George.
Yeah, right. Now we're going to attack into the backline players, and we move starting off with the Shark, the boogeyman, Lorenzo Julius. He's a centre. I think he can also play a bit of wing. But the boogeyman, he looks so good for the baby box. I think he will. I think he'll look good in the big box.
I think
jersey.
So. I think so.
And then another destroyer in the centres. All of these guys are actually centres / wingers in a way. Henko van Wyk from the Lions. He can back a punch. I think he scored a hell of a try the other day. It was a good few weeks ago. But yeah, he is
unlucky not to be a Bok already through injury.
Yeah, but, I think he was called up in the. Yeah, he was in the mix. He was in the mix, and then just didn't get. I think he would have played against Portugal for sure, but yeah, injury kept him out. Final 2 players, Ethan Hooker. We've mentioned this guy before. Sharks centre / wing, 6'4". I think he is. I mean, he's been out injured as well, but he's back, and he'll definitely be back more now because poor Andre the Giant's out injured. But Ethan Hooker deserves a shot. And then finally, a Bulls boykie, David Kriel. A lot of people have been shouting for David Kriel to have a go. He's been just there. He's been so good as well. And again, he can play wings. Yeah. And he can kick for poles, I think, as well.
Perfect mix for a team like Rossi. Now, that was relatively quick fire that went through those names. Let's pick out a couple of people that we want to talk about. Nettling for sure, and the Lions prop. I'm not going to tip the name. George in Flabakanya.
That's a night in Flabakanya. What a unit.
Great props. It's 2 different spectrums of player because one is youngster. Nettling for sure is edging into his 30s, 31. But still, as a prop, that's not a problem. You saw him dismantle Kitsov when Stormers play Ulster. He's a hell of a player. He's a team man, and I would just love him to get a Bok cap as opposed to kind of the Lions prop, who's huge. He's got a future ahead of him. I think you get him in the system and you work through him like that. Stormers, boys, there's 2 locks for the Stormers, which lock has been a very good position for the Stormers when injury hasn't played a part. But Schickling, we mentioned it, he was in the Springbok, he got called up to the Springbok squad before he went to Japan. He made that choice. He's come back a really complete player. He looks to be the real deal. I think they've got him earmarked already. And Van Heerden got called up last year to the camps, didn't quite make it. I was pretty gutted for the guy because he's a bit of a warrior. And at 4, it's a funny position for the Springboks at the moment. Sorry, not at 4, at lock, 4 and 5. You've got quite a lot of options of kind of mid-ranged potential players, but we need guys to break out and become the next Irvin, the next Franco Mostert, the next Ludwig Diaga. We've got all these guys in the middle. Nokia had a hell of a season last year. I know it wasn't his debut season, but it was essentially his debut season with only, I think, 1 or 2 caps the year before. But he kind of stepped up a little bit, but then was overtaken when Mostert came back. And, there's that gap in experience, not necessarily quality. And that experience is going to get them to that level. But I just don't think we've solved the next Bok-Lock duo conundrum. No. So that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think those guys definitely deserve a shot. The way they've been playing for the Stormers. Great.
100%. The Stormers haven't always played well this year, but their defense and their forward players generally been quite good. Their scrums are good. I think they would thrive in the Bok environment. Onto the back 3, and the back 3. Look, we've got Sia, we've got Peter Steff, we've got a number of other players who haven't again quite taken the reins from them. Ulrich Loh might be the next one up. Visa we know about, that is getting better every game, but it's almost, he gets 1% better every game. So if we can give him another 30 caps, yes, maybe he'll be there when he's at 60, 70 caps. And almost like Dwayne, where he got better with age, year after year after year. But guys like the Chachuka brothers, guys like Toki, have been playing their little hearts out. They're massive. Manuel Chachuka is just the specimen. He's an incredible player. Vincent, what a gentleman. Met him when he was over here with the Sharks. Absolute legend. He just lives and breathes rugby. He wants to play well. And Troki, he was so close to signing back with the Stormers when he had his contract renewal. He didn't do it. He stayed with Northampton. Northampton are struggling this season, which is a bit unfortunate for him. But again, just a solid out-and-out 8, a player who would really just fit the mold of what we're trying to do, almost Visser-esque, but maybe a little bit more skillful.
Yeah, I think so. I think him moving around to another. I'm worried that Ireland are. I mean, he'd have to play there for years. 3 years, is it? They're trying to 5 years. Oh well, then no. Come on, Rusty, chuck him a line there.
That's not a problem. But what I do like is he's moving to the URC, so Rusty's going to see him more often. He's made a choice financially for his family, but also that he's going to be playing in South Africa more often. He's going to be up against South African teams. He's going to have points to prove. So I like that move. Ulster is also a great team. It's a great family team. It's great structure. It's good coaching. We've had plenty of Boks that have played there that absolutely love about it. Your Ruan played there.
Kitsi had a short stint there.
Kitsi had a short stint. The Bulls back row, Springbok. I used to play with the Sharks. Go off my head at the moment. Anyway,
Marcel
Coetzee played there for many, many years, and they always talk very highly of it. So good luck to the man, and on to the backs.
So the backs, we said, so we got Boogieman, Henk van Wyk, Ethan Hooker, and David Creel. So all same sort of position, though. That's the only thing.
Let's talk about Boogieman. Well, you say same position, but if you look at our backline, you need two things. Okay, you need flexibility in position, so you need that dynamic playmaker that can jump around a little bit. But what we need is centers. Okay, we have possibly 4 of the best centers in the world in the Springbok squad right now. But in 3 or 4 years, those oaks are going to be aging. Okay, I don't think any of them are under 30. It's not saying they're not going to be there in 2027, but it's saying that actually we need to start just looking a little bit outside of the box here. And we know DDA, we know Creel, we know SAs, and they're fantastic players. Boogieman's a different kind of player. He's a little bit more diminutive. He's actually quite short. I don't know his exact height, but if you see him, he's quite short. He's nuggety, almost like an Eddie Jacobs size. Not necessarily, and that kind of explosion. And look, someone is going to come at me for comparing him to Eddie Jacobs because I think he'll be a better player than Eddie Jacobs, who was a fantastic player.
To the Sharks.
But he plays with Sharks. But he carves teams up regularly at every level he plays in. So to take that step up,
I just pulled it up for you. 96 kgs, 1.7 meters tall. Get it? So I've just had a note. He's only 20. Yowza.
20 years old.
90.
Get him in the mix.
96. Oof.
Get him in the mix. He plays wing. He plays centre. I have a feeling that he's going to be a kind of Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu type player who just walks in and he is. He's not trying to make himself a Bok. He's not trying to prove it. He just walks in. He has that character where every level he's been playing at, whether it's under 20s, whether it's Currie Cup, whether it's Sharks, whether it's Champions Cup, he feels like he fits and he knows he's got the skill. And I think it'll be the same for the Springboks. Wrap him up in cotton wool a little bit. Get him cleaning the boots, looking after the boys, proper, like the old school, like get them in the mix, take them on tour, and in 1 or 2 years, just get that guy playing regular rugby for the Springboks.
He's in the right team as well because he's playing with 2 of the guys you've mentioned, and Esterhuizen. So he's like their understudy in a way. And then you've got Ethan Hooker as well, who's there learning. And
Ethan Hooker, again, specimen, absolute specimen. He's massive. He looks like a shark, and that annoys me because he's got that like shark arrogance to him, vibes to him. But hell of a player. He's massive. I would love him in a Springbok shirt. He can play winger. He can dot around. He's just a baller. He's just an athlete. It's like what the Australians have. When you look at Australian teams throughout the years, they might not have the best like rugby players, but they always have the best athletes. And Ethan Hooker and actually Creel fits into that mold as well, and David Creel, where they are just incredible athletes. And if you can harness the right position, if you can harness the right strategy to use them, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we can talk about Henk van Wyk and David Creel. Henk van Wyk for the Lions. He's been, like we said earlier, unfortunate, missed out on his. I reckon he would have definitely got a cap against Portugal. Potentially ahead of Esterhuizen, who eventually got a red card.
No.
But I I think he definitely deserves a shot. The way he's been playing, and Lions fans will be shouting, "Get him in!" There's a couple other people that they'll be shouting for as well, but we're talking about debutants here and people who should be on the radar. And then David Creel has been
Just
so
unbelievable
consistent
player.
for the Bulls. Yes, I mean, you've got Kane and Moody now, who they're shifting to 13 sometimes, so then David Creel's not always in the starting team, but man,
but
he's so good.
In a situation where now, South Africans have to start getting used to. We're not playing Super Rugby anymore. We're not playing a season of competition. We're playing sometimes three competitions at once when the Currie Cup overlaps as well. URC Champions Cup. So you are now creating squads. You're not creating first teams. So the days of having same first team out week after week after week is completely gone, because you've got almost squads that you're having to predict through health for the whole season and then move things around.
Yeah.
You can't have Moody playing, in London and then playing in Pretoria, then playing in Cape Town, then playing in France. At 13, I think Moody is the player you'd pick at the moment, because he is he's already taken that step up to the Boks. He's proven it. But you've got a guy like David Creel who can fit in and around, and I just think it's wonderful to see how big the squads are getting. And that's all over the park. Maybe the Lions, they don't have the budget for it, but if you look at the Sharks, Bulls, and how the Stormers are having to adapt because of injury, the squads are getting bigger and bigger, and that's only better for South African rugby.
Absolutely. Kan nie wag nie. I just can't wait for South Africa.
I just can't wait for the Bokke. That's it for our youngsters. If you have anyone else that we think we could, pop in there are plenty of other players. You've got Hartson, you've got the Stormers, you've got multiple, other players that we could talk about. But those are the guys we'd really love to see in key positions for the Springboks next year. Drop a comment. Let us know who we left out. Let us know your thoughts on who we selected. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, come on, guys. Hit that bloody button. Come on. It doesn't cost you anything. Clap a subscribe. I'll scratch my ears again. And enjoy the rest of the episode, because we've got a couple of extra kind of wishes that are quick fire that we'll go through now. George, my wish, Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu to go injury free for the entire year. The guy is possibly the greatest standard of player we've produced in the last 20 years, and yet the Oak cannot stay fit. I mean, he got injured after 10 seconds of the Springbok game off the kickoff again.
Oh, the Stormers game, yeah.
You can see how frustrated he is. We need to just put him out, properly rehab him. I don't know what, but please
put him in an oxygen chamber.
Stop crash balling Sasha. Stop it. Let him dodge. Stop crash balling Sasha.
So this is. I wanted to bring this up. This is evidence that he shouldn't be playing 12. He's brilliant at 12, but he's crashing. Put him at 10. That's where but then you've got Manie Libbok. But man, the Stormers have a massive. It's not about that now, but they've got a dilemma there with those three: Manie, Sasha, and Damon Williamson.
But again, you've got all these tournaments, so why not cycle the players? Yeah. Why not cycle the players? But I don't think I don't. Problem is, you can't leave one of them out in your best team. And that's something we can talk about on another podcast. Potentially when we go to Paris in a couple of weeks, George, we can talk a little bit more about the Stormers. Next little one, it's actually also about the Stormers, and I'm so sorry, Sharkies. My wish is for Siya Kolisi to come back to the Stormers. We know it's being rumored. We know it's going. Look, on a personal level, man to man, guy with 2 kids, Oak needs to be home with his family. Okay, that's if his family's going to be in Cape Town, it's going to be so much harder for those kids, for that family and for Siya to be living in another city, and it's a 2-hour flight away, or an hour and a half, however long it is. That's a huge thing in lifestyle. So it makes sense. Now the Sharks have paid 18 million rand to get him over. So how that money is going to work, hopefully Rock Nation are going to come up with some idea, but I would love to see Siya back in the hoops, playing for the Stormers. You could see him in that press conference in Cape Town Stadium. He missed the Stormers so much.
He just wants to shout, "Oh yeah!"
And look, we know that the Stormers have back rows, but we also know that Siya will come in and play a key role in any team. In any team he goes to, he could play a key role, except possibly in wrestling, where he was too fat and invisible. On to the next one. We got a little bit higher wishes there, George. A little bit higher wishes. A South African team to win the URC. Now, the Bulls have come close twice. The Stormers have come close twice. And every final of the URC has been in South Africa. It looks a little way off from now, with Leinster actually looking pretty good. And with the South African teams maybe chopping and changing a little bit with injury. But I'd love, obviously, the Stormers to win, but I'd love even the Bulls or the Sharks or the Lions to win the URC. Bring it back to South Africa, show the North how it's done, and go from there. And possibly we add a couple of semi-finalists to the Champions Cup. You know, we've got a lot of teams in the Champions Cup at the moment. Lions maybe do a run in the Challenge Cup. It would be great for someone like the Lions to win it. I don't think they've got the standard to do it, but you never know. Onto the Boks. I've got 3 wishes for the Boks, George. Can you guess them?
I think one of them is definitely to keep number 1 status. Come on.
Oh, we've got to keep Ireland out of number 1. It's not personal. We didn't get to play them again in the Northern Hemisphere tour, but we took that number 1 off them. Let's keep it. We talked about at the beginning of the show how last year was possibly one of the best years for South African rugby ever. Okay, ever. It's one of the best. You know, we didn't go undefeated, but we lost 2 games
by 1 point.
We won everything basically we could. It was absolutely fantastic. If we can do that, stay number 1. If we can retain the Rugby Championship, something we've never done, something that will be 2. The hardest thing we have to do, because we have to beat New Zealand in is it Auckland? Their bloody place they've never lost in 70.
Eden Park,
Eden Park, that's it. But you know what? If anyone can do it,
we can bloody do it.
The Booker can do it. And you know how sweet the Brandewyn will taste on your lips when that final whistle goes, when that and the right glass and the right ice. But the taste of the All Blacks losing after. Look, we know the All Blacks are going to come back to a certain extent. They actually improved last year, which I didn't think they would. I thought they were on their way down. They actually got better and better and better. And they will get better next year as well. But we are in the position where we have to win that. Yeah. That proves that we are one of the greatest teams of all time, worthy of the conversation with New Zealand. If we can beat them in Eden Park. Okay? And then we win the next World Cup, then it's indisputable. But this is the road we have to conquer. And we have to go there and win back-to-back in New Zealand. And the last one, if we get the opportunity, is to fly over to Paris and beat the French once again in Paris, run them over, Dupont on his ass for a try potentially by Ches and Colby would be my dream. But a 1-point win I'd take in France. A 1-point win I'd take. And it's something we do quite often. So you never know. 2017, 2018, 2023 were the last 3 matches in Paris that we've had. We won them all, undefeated. I think they were all by less than 5 points, though. So you never know. I know we did play in Marseille in between, and we lost by 1 point. We're talking about Paris, baby. We're talking about Paris. We're talking about Paris. George, any wishes, last-minute wishes we can add in there for you?
Oh, no. I think you've got all the wishes that I could have wished for. You're like a little genie over there.
Ooh, rub my belly. Yeah. No, rub my lamb.
That's your lamb. You're not Buddha.
Good. Well, let's go on to the main event, guys. Before we do, please, we've said it 3 times now. If you haven't hit subscribe, stop watching. Why are you watching us if you're not going to subscribe to us? Come on. We're the best 2 best mates that talk about rugby, that aren't paid to talk about rugby, that are simply the best. Hit subscribe. Have a bit of fun with us. We've got a huge schedule lined up for 2025, including George and I going to Paris on a beautiful, loved adventure for the 2nd year in a row to watch the Stormers. This time they're playing Racing in one of the best arenas, Lot Fence Arena, one of the best places to watch rugby in the world. It's going to be unbelievable. We're going to do a couple of podcasts while we're out there as well. So let's move on to the Springbok team selection. This is George and I's Springbok team selection. It's not Rusty's, sorry. We didn't get him on the blower this time round. But what we're going to do, we're going to talk through George's forward selections very quick, Matt's my forward selections very quick, and then backs and whatever, and then we'll debate them as we go along. So, George, let's kick us off with who you're selecting as your forward pack for the best Springbok team ever. Eden Park test tomorrow morning. Who are you selecting?
Right. Oxenchair, Malcolm Marx, Frans Malherbe, Eben Etzebeth, RG Snyman, Sia, Peter Steff, and Jasper Visser.
Absolutely unbelievable. We have not actually shown each other this. This is the first time we're talking about it. Can I just, before we move on, George, can I just read you mine? Okay. Unbelievable. Ox, Malcolm Marx, Frans Malherbe, Eben Etzebeth, RG Snyman, Sia Galisi, Peter Steff, and Jasper Visser. We've agreed. We are like one mind. We're like one mind. There are things we can talk about there, though. There are things, even though we've agreed exactly the same forward pack, unbelievably, the things we can talk about. Ox, I think, is undeniable. You're picking him every day of the week. Malcolm Marx and obviously Bongi is the two options. I like Marx against New Zealand. I like the way he buffers the ball. I think New Zealand fear him a little bit more as well because he's more dynamic than Bongi. And I don't mind a little bit of a wrecking ball like Bongi potentially coming off the bench, but we'll look at that a little bit later. Frans Malherbe, you saw what he did to Ox in the Stormers Sharks game. So let's be absolutely clear that Frans Malherbe is the best prop in the world. It's the best prop in the world.
He has to be.
Yeah.
That injury, the layoff, a few weeks off, must have revitalized. He's always been in our conversation, best tight end in the world, but flipping out.
Yeah, unbelievable. He absolutely folded up Ox, and maybe Ox had a bad day, but he folded him up. I think it was about 4 or 5 scrum penalties that he helped force. Eben Etzebeth, there's no need to really discuss Eben's selection, but RG Snyman's an interesting one. He's been playing so well for Leinster. He's been playing so well for South Africa. He's finally graduated from that bomb squad, which he loved playing so much, and he was so good at. Whereas, he's been injury-free, he's been starting games, he's been playing really well, and that guy is petrifying to have on a pitch. And if you're going to have somebody scary, have them against New Zealand. Yeah,
and I think this is a big talking point because he is, as you said, he's a bomb squad member, but you can't not start him. He's so good, and I know it's an 80-minute game, so I get it. We don't win it in the first 50, but you can sure set it up well with a guy like him. Yes,
yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah, man. And then the rest of
the back row, Sia, Peter Steff, I don't think you've got any arguments there, have you, George? There's not. This is an interesting one because he is getting better, but there are other people knocking on the door. I think just how solid he is, how if he has a couple of good games against Italy, potentially just warming him up, and he starts the rugby championship well, he's probably our best bet against New Zealand in particular, just with his abrasiveness.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the backs then, George. How about I go first this time, just in case we've got that height in mind.
Let's see.
With exactly the same. So here we go. Again, we've not discussed this beforehand. You're on the edge of your seats, ladies and gentlemen. I know, but who are we going to select? Number 9. I've gone for Grant Williams. I think Grant Williams is our form number 9. I think he is the best athlete number 9 we have. He's got wheels for days. We selected him to start against England at Twickenham, the all-important game of the tour. People were talking up the Scotland game. It was a non-issue. I don't think Rassie saw it as much of an issue. The England game, despite their track record, the pedigree, the ability to play at Twickenham, that was the toughest game. And Rassie selected him. And he smashed it. So that's no offense to any other 9 we've got. We've got great 9s at the moment. But Grant Williams, I want to see. Sorry, I shouldn't be debating it. I should be just reading all of them. So we'll go through now. 10 Pollard, 11 Aronsa, 12 Damon Linda, 13 Creel, 14 Colby, 15 Damon Willemse. George, over to you.
Right.
George, over to you.
So we've got a couple of differences here. So that's good. We've got a couple of talking points. I agree with you on Grant Williams. So I got Grant Williams. I've got Sasha at 10.
Okay.
Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu, then Curly Aronson, Damon Dallander, Jesse Krill, Chesy at 14, and I've got Apalele Fassi at 15.
What a wonderful conundrum we have, where 15 and 10 have always been our talking points for the last probably 10 years, where we need maybe more players in that position, and all of a sudden we have genuine ability to pick probably 2 or 3 players in each one. Grant Williams, I spoke about. I got obsessed with him straight away. I vomited out my info on him. But let's talk about Pollard / Mngomezulu. So the reason I picked Pollard is because he just keeps playing that general, that consistent. I am a conservative player. I think when you've got a player like Grant Williams at 9, firing at 9, you can have a little bit more conservative play at 10. You've got conservative at 12, and then you've got fire in Creel at 13. So you've almost got like two really creative players sandwiching in your two conservatives, and I think it'll just settle that backline quite nicely. I think Pollard's just his goal kicking. I know Sasha's good at kicking goal. I know he is, right?
Yeah.
Pollard is the Iceman. This weekend, I mean, he drew the game in overtime off the pole. It took him against Harlequins, the big game 16. He's just, for me, he's our best 10.
Okay, so I mean, I can't not agree with you on that because he is. But my reason for picking Sasha is obviously we all know how brilliant he is. But I'm thinking we're 2 years, well, this year now, we are 2.5 years away, let's say, from the next World Cup. Sasha's quite young. I think he's 22 or something, 22. We need to get him battle hardened because he's obviously clearly very injury prone. I'm not dissing him, but we need him because he is going to be the Bok future 10, without a doubt.
And the Kiwis are scared of him.
To my madness.
The Kiwis,
I mean,
they always talk about how he's like basically a Kiwi player. He's the Bok player who plays rugby like a New Zealander. I mean, that's their biggest fear. If South Africa start playing like New Zealanders with our strengths and add New Zealand's flair, that's their biggest fear. So I get why you'd want to select him. I really do. And he's 2-0 against New Zealand, so he doesn't fear them. Yep. No. But you haven't changed my mind. Let's put it that way. You haven't changed my mind. But Arendse, Damon Delinde, Creel, pretty set. Colby, pretty set. We're not, we don't have to go over that ad nauseum. But 15, you've chosen Apele Fassi, the incumbent, the guy who stepped up this year. Everyone's loved to see it. He's massive. He's plays with a smile on his face. He's electric. I've gone for Damian Willemse, somewhat forgotten through injury this year. He's on his way back. But let's not forget, he was a starter in the Rugby World Cup final 2023. Absolutely smashed it in that campaign. He's a dynamic playmaker. He is brilliant at 12 and okay at 10. He's amazing at 15. And I just think I can't select a team, if he's healthy, without him. And that's no offense to Fassi, who I absolutely love.
And this is a conundrum because I've picked Fassi purely just, and we probably should have said this earlier, but this is just like a team, no injuries. This is
a wish
the team.
List, right?
It's a wish list, yeah. I've just picked Fassi because he's been so consistent. And I think, and we've said it before, a good few months ago, that I think it's his jersey to lose.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if either of them started at 15, you can't be unhappy. You cannot be unhappy if either of them started at 15. But I'm now that I've mentioned that you've slightly changed my mind, and I would like, I would want.
I've done it. You're killing me, poor Fassi. Fassi Airlines, Ministry of Fassi.
No, I'm keeping weekend special. Damon Willemse he's got time as well. I'm keeping my team.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's a lovely conundrum to have. You've got two players who are absolutely fantastic. So happy to have either of them there, to be honest. Let's go on to the bomb squad, the backs. The bench. George, you want to throw me out your bench? I think there'll be a couple of differences here.
Right. There probably will be. So I've gone Bongi, Gerard Steenekamp, Thomas du Toit, Frank Mostert, Kwagga Smith, Cameron Anakom. So I've gone 6-2. Jaden Hendrickse, and then Andre Pollard. If I win 5-3, I'm not going to say it. But anyway, what are yours?
So I've gone 5-3. Okay.
I should have done 5-3.
I think the bomb squad is the 8-2 split is possibly the allure of it is possibly fading. The 60 split is possibly fading. We never quite got to the 8-0, but I think 5-3 in New Zealand when they're going to run us around might be sensible to have. Now, we talked about no injuries here, okay? So we talked about it doesn't matter if they're injured or not, which I've chosen Bongi as well. I've chosen Steven Kitsoff because I believe he says he's coming back. I believe he will come back, and I will believe he will be the bionic man with the bionic neck, and he'll be fine. If he's not fine, I've got Slash Gerard Sidekamp, okay? So don't go at me too hard in the comments. Then I've got Wilco Low, who I thought was phenomenal on tour. He's been the linchpin of the Bulls, and he's just such a great kind of specimen to have on the field. He's huge. He's monstrous. I think against Thomas the Tank. Thomas the Tank sometimes I feel maybe is a bit nice for a rugby pitch. Wilco Low looks a bit angry on the rugby pitch. So maybe that's just swung me the other way. Then I've gone Franco Mostert as backup to Lock. I've got Ulrich Low, and then I've got onto the bench. A little bit of a controversial one, possibly here. I've gone Faf de Klerk. Possibly would be a better starter than off the bench, but just someone who can rein things back if needs be. The last 10 minutes, just play a little bit more conservative, better kicking in than Grant Williams if we need to play that kind of way. Lucanio to come in the centres, give a little bit of flair. I liked him off the bench against England, and I really struggled not selecting him in the team, so I had to squeeze him in there. And at 23, Sasha Feinberg, Montgomery Zulu, to come in and save the day if needs be. But yeah, let's talk about it.
I'm gonna say you've kicked out the best bench player in world rugby. Terrible. Quagga Smith. You don't have Quagga Smith. Terrible.
I know.
I'm trying to make you feel really bad because he is. Every team in the world would want him on their bench. Damn you.
You know what? I forgot about Quagga. Oh no, Fuff, you're out. You're out, Fuff, you're done. You're done. You're gone. It's an 8-2 split. And it's quite. I forgot about Quagga. Oh my god, it must be the bubble house from New Year's last night. Oh my god, what have I done? But
hey, South Africa's on my side, yeah, I think.
It happens to the best of us. Some of us drink brandy wrong, and some of us forget Quagga Smith. Quagga, we love you, but absolutely. And he can play number 9 if needs be. He's a 7s player.
Well, yeah, he can play 9. The thing is now with you getting rid of him, you getting rid of Faf, you just shift Colby to 9 and
exactly.
Sasha can play wing. He can play wherever he wants, baby.
Exactly. Grant Williams also can play in 80 minutes of rugby. It's fine. But let's talk about the main differences. Oops. Let's talk about the main differences there. We've got Steenekamp and Kitsoff. I like Steenekamp how he plays. I think Kitsoff, if he's at his potential best, if he can get back to there, I think he's the guy. Wilco Low versus who did you pick?
Thomas du Toit, yeah. I've always got a soft space in my heart for Thomas du Toit because I just feel he deserves more Bok game time. And I've said it a number of times, he can play both, loose head and tight head. He's the best prop in England. He's
not hard.
You can't. That's what she said. So, yeah, it's. But Wilco Low, I think he was immense on the end of year 2. When he got to play, I think he played. Did he only play 1?
He played 2.
How many games did he
played 1 and a bit?
2 games. 1 and a bit, yeah, 1 plus tax. But he was incredible, and he's potentially the person to take over from France Maher because I think France is still fairly young. He's like 33. But Wilco Low
France is going to be one of those oaks that is like he's going to be the Springbok version of Brock Harris, dude. He's just like 40. He's like 41, like hanging out. And he's like, "Can you still scrum?" Yeah. Rusty's asking him. Rusty's also like 80 years old, and he's like, "France, can you still run?" Yeah, it'll be fine. Can you play 20? Yeah. Yeah, look, I wouldn't be upset with Thomas du Toit again. I liked him being back in the mix, but Wilco Low, I just think has an edge at the moment. Then who did you have? Remind me at 19.
I had Mostert like you,
Mostert
so
same.
Well. And then, but I had Honeycomb and you had Ulrich Low.
So talk me through that because genuinely, I like Honeycomb. I think he's a great player, but surely Wilco Low has proved. Surely Ulrich Low has proved he's the next Bok, whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm just maybe I'm just trying to be controversial. I don't know, but I think Cameron Hanekom, look, he got a little bit of a chance at the end of the year against Wales.
So by the time we play in Eden Park, if he plays every single game, he'll have like what 4 or 5 caps.
4 caps, yeah.
So that's quite a big.
But so did other players with his quality. I think, maybe. I think you've got to give him a go. But I also love Ulrich Loh. We got too many bloody good players. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
We're screwed.
Well, we won't talk about us both selecting Kwagga Smith, so we'll move on to 2022. So obviously you've got number 9. I've got
Jaden Hendrikse.
Yeah, solid player.
Solid player.
I would have gone Fuff if I had a number 9. I don't know if anyone knows that. But not anything against Jaden, but I just think Jaden is a very good player who's still a work in progress, which is nothing against him. But if we're going to put a up and comer in Grant Williams, who I believe is ready to start, I want someone on the bench who has been there, done it.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd change it to then Kobus Reinach on the bench. But I just know that he's coming to the end of his.
Yeah,
he's still.
I don't think we need to play Kobus anymore. Like, I love the guy, but I think come on. I think if Fuff wasn't injured this year,
we would be talking more about him.
Reinach wouldn't have been in the squad.
No, I don't think he would be.
So, but Morne van den Berg coming up.
Then you've got Morne van den Berg. He did what he did against the Stormers when we played. I think Stormers did. Did the Stormers come out with the victory in the end? They did. But Morne van den Berg.
And Rusty likes him. Rusty likes the way he plays. The coaching team likes the way they play. Like he plays. I don't think there's space for him right now. He might have a 10-cap career, or maybe a Reinach career. But when you've got a Grant Williams and a Hendrikse, I don't think there's much point in.
It's tough. It's tough out there to be a 9.
Tough out there to be a 9. And then I went for just because I was going centre. I just like the way he played against England off the bench. I don't think you can have a top-tier Springbok team without playing him. I think the less we play him, the worse he becomes. And that's nothing against him. That's just game time. Springboks need game time. And it's better for us to have him playing 20 minutes every match.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you there, because if I did a 5-3 split, I sadly don't think he would have been in my team either, though.
Okay, but that's fair enough.
Now, what you've said is very true. You can't. I mean, before he got injured, he was the best centre in the world. Before Jesse Krill then rose up to the occasion and is arguably one of the best centres in the world as well now.
Minister of Defence.
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
Minister of Defence. Yes.
And coming in at 23, I've got Sasha. You've obviously started him, so there's not much debate on why you would have not picked him, because you have already. I've got the same reasons that you chose him, that I've chosen him, except for on the bench he can kind of jump around a little bit, so he can move. If Grant Williams get injured, Colby moves to 9. Oh my God, Sasha can pile in somewhere that's maybe not his preferred position. Move Jesse Krill to the wing, and he can go in at 12, whatever. Who did you have last off the bench?
That was Jaden and Andre.
Oh, it was Jaden and Andre, yeah. And you had Andre Pollard, right? So it's exactly the same conversation we have there to kick the final win of the game at Eden Park. Predictions for that game in particular, George. Let's just throw it out there. Early, bold predictions for the season, starting off with Eden Park.
How dare you? So I'm going to Boks victory, but it's going to be tight, like Boks by 3 points.
Okay, only. Boks by 3, Boks by 5. I think we will defend the line to the death. The whistle will go from a knock-on of the All Blacks, who are about to score a try to win the game, and we will take the victory at Eden Park. And then we'll go.
Is that 2018 calling?
And then we'll lose by 10 points the next week. There we go. No, well, look. I think it's going to be a fantastic season ahead. We've got, obviously, Italy, we've got Georgia, we've got full full fat rugby championships with away tours to New Zealand. We've got the Autumn Nations that will obviously be, it looks like we're going to have France, we might have Ireland, we'll probably have like Italy and Scotland, maybe Wales as well, to have a big tour there. Stay tuned. It's going to be a wild year for us. We're really upping it, guys. 2023 was our first year. 24, we got really settled in what we're doing. 25 is going to be a magic year for the Rugby Oaks. We thank you so much for coming along with the journey. If you haven't yet subscribed, if you haven't yet liked, if you haven't yet, send it to your mom and your aunt and your uncle and your dog to have a little watch. It all helps. We're trying to do something here by creating positivity in South African rugby, by pushing the Springbok image further and further. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and see you next time.